Hello and welcome to the final group profile video for the 2019 AFC Asian Cup. It's been a cool last few weeks. I enjoyed spending the last 5 or 6 Fridays with you going over these groups. But we have reached the end, guys, as the Asian Cup is fast approaching. Today is Group F, the last group. And there are 4 teams in this group, but you only see 3 flags because, unfortunately, I did not have enough time to make the flag of Turkmenistan. And in addition to that, I don't have the utensils at the ready. I need to get some new colored pencils, buy a pair of scissors. So, yeah, I need that soon because there's a few fantasy football tournaments coming ahead that I don't have the flags for, so I'm going to have to make them fast if I can find the time with the New Year's and the holidays approaching. So you'll probably only see maybe 1 or 2 more fantasy football tournament vids before the Asian Cup starts, and then no more until after the Asian Cup. And even then, it'll probably be with flags that I already have, with countries that I already have. So apologies if you're from Turkmenistan. There's no disrespect intended. I didn't really mean to, but to improvise, let's say they're represented by this little container of Gillette Pro Health tooth floss, dental floss. Let's say they're represented by that. I didn't want to leave it blank, so there you go. So in this group, we do have Japan, Turkmenistan, Oman, and Uzbekistan. So let's jump right in to this profile. So first in this group, the Samurai Blue of Japan. Coming off of a quite successful FIFA World Cup in which they came very close from getting to the quarterfinals after coming into the tournament in absolute chaos. They are managed by Hajime Moriyasu, a homegrown local manager who took the reins after Akira Nishino after the World Cup. His previous experience involves coaching Sanfrecce Hiroshima, a club in the J League, as well as the Japan under-23s. Now, he does have the experience of coaching Japan at the under-23 level, and that's going to be very important for Japan in this tournament. And here's why. Whereas Akira Nishino relied on experience to guide Japan through Russia 2018, Moriyasu has shifted Japan into an entirely different direction. They are sending a primarily younger squad to the Asian Cup in 2019, signifying a change of an era in Japanese football. After the World Cup, players like Makoto Hasebe and Keisuke Honda have announced retirements. So he's opted for a lineup that is either mostly based in the J League or play in some of the lower divisions in some European leagues. And a lot of these guys have no major international tournament experience. So it's going to be really interesting how Japan will look in this Asian Cup because it's been a long time since they've really sent a squad to the major continental tournament that did not have the bulk, did not have the makeup of their more seasoned players. Some of these guys include the likes of Ritsu Doan, Yoshinori Muto, and Takumi Minamino as some of their star players to look out for. Several of these guys are under the age of 25. Indeed, more than 3/4 of Japan's national team right now is under the age of 25. So about 75% of them are younger than I am. There are a couple of veterans still remaining. Yuya Osako, who I believe is 30, approaching 30. He's still in the squad. But, a lot of those other guys that we saw in the World Cup, they're gone. Eiji Kawashima, Shibasaki, so you name it. I believe also Genki Haraguchi, one of the veterans, he'll also be there, but it's only a handful left. So they're a little bit they're gonna be kind of hard to predict in this tournament because we don't know what they're gonna have to offer. But I am excited to see how they line up. Their record in 2018 includes 6 wins, 3 draws, and 5 losses. Those 6 wins coming against Paraguay, Colombia in the World Cup, Costa Rica, Panama, Uruguay, and Kyrgyzstan. The 3 draws against Mali, Senegal, Venezuela, and the 5 losses against Ukraine, Ghana, Switzerland, Poland in the World Cup, and Belgium in the World Cup. Since Japan's 3-2 come from behind loss to Belgium in the round of 16, Japan has not lost a single game. They've played 6 games, and they've won 5 of those 6 games since then, keeping clean sheets in 4 of them. So they look really solid under their new manager heading into this tournament. And just because they're sending a younger squad doesn't mean they can't win it. Their previous record, Japan is the most successful country in the history of the Asian Cup. They have the most titles. They have 4 trophies. They won it in 1992, 2000, 2004, and 2011. They finished in 4th place in 2007. Quarterfinal finishes in 1996 and 2015, the most recent edition. And they only went out in the group stage once, which was their first ever participation in 1988. Pretty much the only surprise here is that Japan did not even participate in the Asian Cup until 1988, but they've always made deep runs in virtually all of their campaigns. A reasonable expectation, the expectation for Japan and the growth of football in Japan, both the national and the domestic level, there's always pressure on the players to win the tournament. So the expectation for Japan is to win the tournament. And a realistic goal for Japan is to win the tournament. This is a squad with considerable depth. They should make a run to at least the semifinals in this Asian Cup. And they are going to be candidates to be right there all the way until the end. Moving on, we have Turkmenistan. Again, apologies for the lack of flag. Their nickname is the Emeralds, as personified by their green jerseys and their green flag. They only played 2 games in 2018, with 1 win against Afghanistan and 1 loss to Bahrain, 0 draws. Only played 2 games in this whole calendar year. That's quite a miserable preparation. But it's probably not even their fault, scheduling-wise, and lack of finances for some of the poorer nations within Central Asia. Their manager, I'm going to butcher these names because Turkmen names are really hard to pronounce. Their manager is Yazduli Hajageldu, who is a local Turkmen manager. His prior experience includes coaching the Turkmenistan national team back in 2012 to 2013. So this is his second stint in charge of the Emeralds. They only have 1 previous participation in the Asian Cup, which came in 2004. They actually put in a respectable performance in the 2004 Asian Cup. They finished with a draw, and they came close to getting another draw. So they could have had 2 draws out of their 3 games in the group stages. Alas, it was the group stages where Turkmenistan finished, and this is only their second ever participation in the Asian Cup here in 2019, or at least it will be. Key players include Suleiman Muhadov, Walid Orashedov, and Serdali Antayu. A lot of domestic-based players, very little international clubs experience, played domestically in the Turkmen League. There's really not much to say about Turkmenistan just because of the fact that they are very rarely seen in tournaments. A reasonable expectation for them, I don't think they really ought to have any expectations other than to just put in another respectable performance as they did in 2004. Maybe they can finish 3rd in this group and possibly squeeze through the round of 16. But on paper, they should lose all 3 games. They should finish bottom. They should finish as one of, if not the worst team in this tournament. But just like a lot of Central Asian sides, they are rugged. They do tend to be difficult to break down. Maybe they'll rise to the occasion. A realistic goal, like I said, just possibly not getting pulverized in this group. But they really should not have any expectations. Moving on to Oman. Their nickname is Al Ahmar, which means the Reds, just like Bahrain's nickname, spelled a little bit differently. Their manager is Pim Verbeek of the Netherlands. Now, I know Pim Verbeek. He's coached other national teams in Asia, in South Korea and Australia. Remember, he took Australia to the 2010 World Cup, and they did quite decently there, just barely missing out on progression from the group stages due to goal difference. Oman's previous finishes in the Asian Cup include 3 group stage exits in 2004, 2007, and 2015. This will be their 4th ever Asian Cup. They've never advanced past the group stages. I would very much so fancy their chances this time around because of the form they carry into this tournament, as well as the fact of the expanded format where 16 out of 24 teams go through. So look for them to possibly break that streak. Their record in 2018 includes 5 wins against Bahrain, Palestine, Bahrain again, Tajikistan, and Tajikistan again, and 7 draws against the UAE, Lebanon, Jordan, Philippines, Ecuador, Syria, and India. They did not lose a single game. So Oman is undefeated in 2018. They've not lost a single game. 5 wins, 7 losses, and 5 wins, 7 draws, and 0 losses. That's quite promising when you add to the fact that in late of last year, 2017, and early 2018, Oman were crowned the Gulf Nations champions. So they are the champions of the Gulf region. And they'll come into this tournament feeling they have something to prove, that they do belong amongst the best sides on the West Asian scene. They owe it to themselves to come through this group. Oman is one of the second-tier Asian teams in this tournament that owes it to themselves to finally come through the group stage. And I think they may just do it. Star players include Khalil Al-Hadri, Mohsin Al-Khaldi, and Mohammed Al-Ghassani. Now, Ali Habsi, another one of their players, is injured, unfortunately, so he'll miss out. But those previous 3 that I mentioned will make up most of their goal-scoring threat up front in the final third. A reasonable expectation for Oman: get past the group stages. They're more than capable of coming through not just as a third-place team, but in a top 2 position. I think they're good enough to do so. And if they get lucky with their draw in the round of 16, considering who they may come up to play against, because remember, the runners-up of Group F play against the runners-up of Group B, and you get Group B, those are winnable games for Oman. So we could see a scenario where Oman goes on a run to the quarterfinals in this tournament. Perhaps Oman can be considered a dark horse as well. I'm very interested to see what the Gulf champions can do in this tournament. That's a reasonable expectation to get out of the group. And a reasonable goal, I would say, if they really hit their form, a semifinal is not entirely out of the question for Oman. It just depends who they come up against in the round of 16 in the quarterfinals, right? So, and Pim Verbeek, he's had mixed success with national teams, so want to see how the Dutch manager does here with Oman. And lastly, we have Uzbekistan, the White Wolves, one of the coolest nicknames in international football, the White Wolves. Their record in 2018 includes 2 wins, 3 draws, and 5 losses. Those wins coming against North Korea and Qatar, 3 draws against Senegal, Syria, and Lebanon, and those 5 losses against Morocco, Iran again, South Korea, and Uruguay. So they've lost half of their games, but all of those games against considerably superior opposition. So they get a pass for that. Their manager is Hector Cooper of Argentina, whose prior experience includes taking Valencia to the Champions League final, I believe, in 2001, and coaching Egypt to the final of the 2017 African Cup of Nations, as well as the 2018 World Cup. Putting aside my own visceral dislike for Hector Cooper, he does set his teams up pragmatically and defensively, and that could play into a team like Uzbekistan's strengths. They are very difficult to break down. However, Uzbekistan, they do struggle with a little bit of creativity in their midfield. They don't score very many goals unless they're playing against some of the minnows of the Asian continent. Their key players include Sardar Rashidov, Eldor Shumerdov, and Marat Bikmayev. Interesting names to pronounce. It's like a cross between Arab and Russian names. Their prior participation in the Asian Cup includes group stage exits in 1996 and 2000, quarterfinal finishes in 2004, 2007, and 2015, and a fourth place finish in 2011. So Uzbekistan has advanced past the group stages in each of the last 4 consecutive Asian Cups. That's a great record for a Central Asian team. They will be hoping to go on a deeper run this time around. Quarterfinals tend to be their ceiling, save for the fourth place finish in 2011. They'll be hoping to get back to the quarterfinals and potentially making it another last 4 finish. So a reasonable goal is semifinal. Expectation to at least equal the result of their previous performances of getting to the last 8. I think that's right up their alley. Are they good enough to win the tournament? Crazier things have happened in football. I don't think they can win the tournament, though. I would not peg them to be in the final or let alone win the whole thing. But look out for them. They are perennial dark horses. They can go on a very deep run. So let's see what happens with them. And they can upset Japan to top this group. I believe they can. They're probably going to be Japan's most difficult game in this group. And I think they're going to get a result against Japan. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed these videos, guys. That's the end of the group profiles. We made it to the end. Now, all that's left is to do a live stream talking about the Asian Cup a few days before the tournament starts. There, I'll give my final predictions. I'll give specific predictions in addition to the bracket predictions. And then we'll go from there, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you. Hopefully I see you soon, God willing. Have a good one. Much love and peace out.